Welcome to another episode of Let's Think About It with Dr. E. I'm your host, Dr. Erica Hendricks, and I just want to stop before we get started and tell you thank you. You said, Dr. Erica, why am I telling you thank you? I thank you for each person who has subscribed, who has liked, who has shared the podcast from YouTube. It has been an amazing journey. But if you have not, I need for you to go right now. I need for you to subscribe, like, and share today's episode. It is going to be life-changing and impactful. Today, I'm speaking to Black America. I'm speaking to Black women. I'm even speaking to Black men. I'm only speaking to the African American community. I'm very, very intentional today because it's something I need for you to hear. So today's episode is entitled, The Wake Up Call. Black America, we cannot hit the snooze button. I need for you to get that. Wake up, Black America, we cannot hit the snooze button. Y'all remember the movie School Days by Spike Lee? And they went out in the middle of the square and he said, Lawrence Fishburne went out there and said, wake up. Y'all remember that? I need for us to wake up. November the 5th was a wake up call. So today, I'm not just talking about this as a Black woman and a mental health professional who's worried, who's angry, and who's determined. But today I want to dive deep into Project 2025. It isn't just a policy. It's a direct threat to our well-being and especially our mental health. It's a personal playbook. So I spent years walking alongside my clients, helping them heal from trauma caused by systemic oppression. And now we're faced with Project 2025. Looks like a blueprint that's going to harm us. But let's discuss how we can protect our minds and our spirits and each other. This isn't just a political agenda. I want you to understand Project 25 is just not something that they just came up with. It's been in the works for years. It's a playbook that could rewrite the rules for our generation and especially for us. So what does Project 2025 mean for our mental health? The weight we already carry is already heavy. Black people in America, we already live under mental and emotional toll of racism, economic inequality, and systemic violence. But then to add Project 2025 to that, it's adding a ton of bricks to us that we can barely already manage what we already carrying. But there's areas of impact I need for you to understand that Project 2025, what is it going to do to Black America and how will it impact us? The first key impact is healthcare access. If they gut the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid, thousands of us will lose access to therapy, medical care, and mental health resources. That just doesn't mean that I'm going to lose just being able to get my medication. No, you're going to lose access to therapy. You're going to lose access to getting the medication that you need and the medical care that you need. You don't understand, whenever you're facing mental health challenges, you need a primary care doctor. You need a therapist. You need all three of them to help you navigate through the trauma that you're facing. So whenever you add into us the mix, this Project 2025, and I want to call it Project 47, which is what we're getting ready to face. Whenever you add all that into the mix, it's inconvenient, but it's also life-threatening. We are up against the fight of our life, and we don't have time to stay asleep. I need for you to wake up. Number 2, educational cuts. When our kids lose access to quality education, it's not just their future at stake, it is their mental health. Imagine a child navigating a system designed for them to fail, and the trauma behind that. We already struggle with lack of access of resources in our educational system today. So to say that you're going to dismantle our educational system is a threat to our future, and it's a threat to the longevity of your kids. You see, a lot of our kids, parents, they can't read or write. Some of them only have a GED and some of them never finished high school. So now to put them in a situation where they don't have access, where their parents can teach them the basic fundamentals of reading and writing, learning the alphabet, learning phonics, that can be very traumatic and tremendous on them, because now our kids will face bullying. They will face the systemic opposition of learning the basic fundamentals on how to socialize. And think about this. School for some of them is the only place where they get to meet people, they get a decent meal, they get access to care. So what are you going to do if they decide that education is going to away? I need for y'all to really listen to this, because this is a serious matter. And then you appoint the Department of Education, the former WWE's wife. Y'all listen, when I heard that the other day, I'm thinking like, this is not a wrestling match. Our educational system is not WWE, but it's about to be. We're about to be in the fight of our life if they decide that we're going to get rid of the Department of Education, which I think will not happen. But if it does, Black America, are we prepared to teach our own kids? Are we prepared to have churches, to have school in our churches? Are you prepared to do homeschool? Are you prepared now to teach them life from a different lens? Number 3, increase policing. More policing means more violence and fear in our communities. We already have anxiety when police come through our communities, when they're walking through our communities. There's already a sense of anxiety. Am I going to get stopped? Am I going to make it home? I know some people thought that they would make it home, only to be faced with the reality that I'm being pulled over because my tail light is out. And now I run the risk of losing my life because there's an angry cop who doesn't like me because I'm Black. We have to understand that increased policing brings fear and violence. We've seen this erode our trust and our safety. We don't trust police officers to some degree. And then our safety is at stake here. He's talking about sending in military for crime, for policing, even though the military said that's not what we were designed to. But think about this. This man is talking about getting rid of police, community policing, and now replacing that with the military. Not only are we going to see mental health go up, we're going to see anxiety increase, PTSD increased, depression. We're starting to see real devastating mental health at its all-time high. Because now people are now thinking about, what am I going to do if now he defunds the police department and now you bring in the military? Number 4, environmental justice. When they roll back environmental protection, that tells us our lives don't matter. You putting somebody in a position that said they want to get rid of vaccines, who says that we don't need to study infectious disease anymore, that vaccines are doing more harm than good. And I just read an article the other day that we have almost eradicated polio and measles in this country. And now we have starting to see the first outbreak of measles in California. If we get rid of vaccines, do you know what this is going to do for our children? Their immune systems have not even really fully developed. And now you open them up to all other types of diseases and other things in this United States. Think about long term. We're not thinking about futuristic. This is what Project 2025 wants to do. I'm taking my time because I need for y'all to understand Black America, because there are some Black people who've told me that they don't believe that Project 2025 is real. They think it's a ploy, it's fake news, and it's not going to happen. Well, you don't have to believe it. Watch it. It's going to unfold right before your very eyes. So I want to leave you with this thought as we lead into some more points in Project 2025. I need to pause with this because I want you to get this thought-provoking line. Project 2025 isn't just about policies, it's about power. And that power is being welded to control and crush us. And we can't let this happen. It isn't just about policy, it's about power. The more money you have, the more power you can have. Think about this. Power means money. Money means power. So how systemic oppression impacts our minds. So the intersection of racism and mental health. As a mental health professional, I see firsthand how racism shapes our mental health. Many of our black men have less access to mental health than black females. And the reason is because many of our black men are incarcerated. So with the incarceration rate, they do not get mental health care in prison. The most they might do for them is give them medication. That's might. Some of them, they won't. So I have seen that since the election, prisons, if you don't know, are private. They are a privatized institution owned by a group of people. So now people buy stock into building prisons. As they buy stock into building prisons, they get rich off of more people that go into the prison system. So listen to me, guys. I need for y'all to understand, this just is not something that they're saying. This is something that they're doing. That prison to pipeline in our schools, they start labeling our kids in the 5th grade. Are they prison material or are they college material? Especially our young black boys. So I need for you to understand, this is not something that they just thought of. This is something that they've been doing for years. So it's the microaggression at work, the fear of sending your child to school, and the grief of losing loved ones to violence or neglect. And when policies amplify harm, trauma multiplies. There's a doctor by the name of educational, Dr. Brené Brown. She wrote something in one of her books called Critical Awareness. Dr. Brown teaches us to look at the bigger picture, to recognize the systems at play and how they shape our experiences. That's what we need right now. She says this, 3 things she said we need to do to shape our awareness, our critical awareness. Number 1, we got to name it. We got to name what makes us aware. So in this episode, we're calling out the harm of Project 2025 and what it is causing. The awareness is the first step to our healing. Number 2, she said you got to process it. Talk to someone, a therapist, a trusted friend, a faith leader, but I don't want you to think that you have to carry this weight by yourself. Number 3, act against it. When we channel our frustration into action, we regain control. Organize, we got to vote again and speak up. So she said, number 1, you got to name it. We're talking about critical awareness. Then you got to process it. And then you got to act against it. We've got to protect our minds going forward. Your mind is the most critical thing on your body. If your mind goes, if your mind is struggling, if your mind is at war, it affects the organs in your body. Whenever your mind is uneasy, when your mind is unsettled, you can't sleep, you can't eat, you have struggles organizing, you have challenges even functioning when your mind is unsettled. So I need for you to settle in your mind. No, Kamala didn't win, but what are we going to do moving forward? How are we going to change the very trajectory of our community? And what does it mean to be black in America in 2025? And isn't it amazing how they entitled the project 2025? This was not by happenstance. They were planning for 2025. They were planning to get him back in the White House for Project 2025, something they started writing back in like 2009. So this was a policy that they've been writing for some time, and it was put into place for them to implement in 2025. This was not coincidental, y'all. This was very intentional. This was very strategic whenever they did this. So tools for being resilient in this time. So you say, I can even be resilient even When we're in a state of not being woke, you absolutely can. So I need for you to wake up, hit the snooze button, get up, put on a pair of clean clothes, get out of those pajamas, and I need for you to come with me on this journey. So tools for being resilient. Number one, develop a community of healing. We've always survived through collective care. Lean into your community, your family, your friends, and your faith community. Those are going to be our saving grace moving forward. Don't abandon what has got you here thus far. I know it looks bleak, and I know some of you never thought that some of your friends would go in the opposite direction. But it's okay. Some of you, there's some weight you need to lose anyway. There's some friends you need to get rid of anyway, and it's okay. I don't need for you to carry unnecessary weight going into the new year. Number two, invest in self-care. I know self-care gets thrown around a lot, but let's be clear. It's not just bubble baths, getting a massage, get your nails done or your feet done. It's about boundaries. It's saying no. It's resting without guilt. We can't fight the system if we're burned out. You've got to take time for yourself. Carry through the process and know that I'm not in this alone. There's others that are walking this process along with me. Black America, we've got to leverage our resources. You've got to support Black-owned businesses. You got to support Black therapists. You got to support Black advocacy organizations. You got to create a space for mental health to be the priority. When you invest in those who understand us, invest in your healing. Invest in therapists who understand us as Black Americans. Invest in the community that puts us first. We matter in this season. We matter not just in our community, but you matter as an individual and you matter as a community. Your life matters in this season. Then we have to empower the next generation. You've got to empower those that are 18 and moving into their 20s, moving into their 30s. You got to empower them that they now have to develop a systematic approach to how they're going to move forward. Some of them are now changing majors. I read an article that said that some of them are now going into law. Some of them were going into business. Some said, no, I need to go in law. Because I need to learn how to write policies. I need to change policies. So some of them now are rethinking the career path. Because now that they've seen how this election has turned, some of them are saying, no, I need to get into the political arena. But I want you to get into the political arena for the right reasons. Not to get into the political arena for revenge, but get in there to make a difference. To understand that I need you and you need me. It's not about me getting there and making a change and say, aha, look what I did. No. We got to think about our future self. You got to think about your family. You got to think about your parents. If you have aging parents and you have parents that are in their 70s, such as myself, they're in fairly good health, being able to do for themselves. But what happens if they decide they're going to get rid of Social Security? What happens if my parents, God forbid, had to go into an assisted living for services or to rehab? What's going to happen? These are things that we have to be able to prepare for. That's why you have to leverage your resources, empower the next generation, and then you have to understand that how we're going to create policies and systems for futuristic planning. Democrats, I know some of us are looking at this as a loss, but I see it as a win. We have an opportunity to revamp and to change some things. Even our party that were not working, let's be honest, there's some things in the Democratic process that were not working. And we didn't make changes fast enough or quick enough. And there's some things that we can do different, and we need to do that. But I need for you to understand that Project 2025 is not something that they just started. It's something that they've been doing. And they've been doing it for quite some time now. And so whenever you understand the process of change, it doesn't start with you. I often say this a lot. I was very angry after I watched the movie Hidden Figures. You You saying, but Dr. Eric, you should have been very ecstatic. You know why I was angry? Because they kept 50 years of history from us. Do you know all the young black, young girls that could have made something, a different career path, if they would have known it was a black woman that got the man to the moon? It was a group of smart, intelligent, super bad sisters who knew how to work the math system. They worked those equations to the 9, to the 10th, because they understood our lives were at stake, our careers were at stake. They went on to be some of the greatest figures in history. But history only recognized them 50 years later. It's amazing how we do not get our credit while we are living. So I need for you today, I need for you to appreciate a super bad sister. I need for you to appreciate a brother who's doing the good for their community. Tell them thank you for what they've done and what they're doing. And then ask them, where can I help? Where can I fit in? What can I do to make my community better? Because if we don't come along and push each other else along, nobody else is. I'm telling you, this is about changing for future generations. So family, I need for you to hear me when I say our mental health is sacred. Don't you discount your mental health because you think it doesn't matter. Project 2025 is designed to attack our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. But we have the power to resist, to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and our community. The fight won't be easy, but it's necessary. We're not fighting alone, we're fighting together. Because when we fight, we win. And I need for you to understand that life is a cycle. And every 4 years we vote in a president. Every 4 years we change the political system. But I don't need for you to wait 4 years to change your life. I need for change to start for you. When? Today. Right now. Make a decision that I'm going to wake up from the slumber of sleep, from the days that I am in, from the fact, yeah, we didn't win, but what are you going to do moving forward? Change is your gateway to your freedom. Change is the gateway to what is your now and what is your next. Don't wait on someone else to make the change for you, but you make the change and make it with exponential change. Make it with a rush behind it. Make it with a hurry in front of it. But don't you wait to 2025 to write the vision. What is your vision for 2025? You need to be thinking about that now. What's the vision for your family? What's the vision for your children? But I need for you to have a plan. Write it down and say, this is what we're going to do. I've been really seriously thinking about my finances. I've been thinking about my future. And I've been writing my plan out. Because the way I did my finances in 2024, I saved, but I gotta save more. I don't need nothing else, y'all. My house is already too full. I don't need any more. I don't need anything else. So now I'm thinking about what can I get rid of to bless somebody else? And then I'm re-strategizing, how am I gonna restructure my life? Because there's some places I'm not gonna shop at. There's just some places I'm not gonna patronize anymore. There's just some things I'm not going to do anymore because my peace matters to me. Now, if that means me giving up some things that I thought I needed, absolutely, that's what I'm going to do. If that means there's some people in my life that's been weighing me down, and they thought by voting for Trump, it was going to make their life better, I can't worry about the decisions that's going to have on their life. Because that's the choice that they made. I can't feel guilty when it don't work out for them because that's what they chose. They thought it was going to make their life better because they voted for him. Guess what? They got to take the consequences. But as Black African Americans, we've always been a resilient people. We've always been able to bounce back. They've thrown a lot of things our way. And we've been able to take what they've given us and we've been able to make it grow. So I want to challenge you today. Join me in this fight to making a change for a better future. Join me in this fight for making a change for a better tomorrow. Join me in this fight for making a better system for me mentally, spiritually, and financially. But whatever you do, think about the healing that needs to take place in our community. Protect your mind, guard your spirit, and stand tall in this fight, because it won't be easy, but I promise you that God's going to walk us through every step of the way. I trust the process because I believe that God's well able to do exceedingly and abundantly, more than we can ever think, dream, or even imagine. You know why I trust God? Because He's done it before, and He'll do it again. He's the same God back then, and He's the same God right now. I trust God with my very life. He's never failed me. He's never let me down. And if God spoke a thing, He's going to perform it for you and I'm going to trust the process, even when I don't understand it, and even when it looks bleak. I'm telling y'all, it doesn't look good for us in the process. But I promise you, God didn't make a mistake in what He's going to do for us. Now, I don't believe that God put Trump there, but I do believe God put him there to make us more aware so that we can change some things that we've been procrastinating about in our own community. So until next time, stay aware, stay strong, and take care of you. I'm your host, Dr. E. Let's think about it, and let's talk about it, because a change must be evident on the horizon. Have an amazing day.